Thanks for tuning in to this live stream discussion, an early preview of Stardom Crimson Nightmare, which takes place on November 3rd, 2025. 6 fighters have tried and failed to dethrone the Phoenix Queen. And for Stardom, the nightmare that has been Saya Kamitani's history-making reign continues to shatter commercial barriers. But now, Kamitani stands to lose not one, but 2 major titles against a warrior she has been fighting since the beginning of her Stardom career. A warrior who will need to overcome years of stilted progress in order to end Kamitani's nightmare. November 3rd, for someone, will be a night of pain. Let's now ask the question, whose nightmare will be coming true? Welcome everyone to a frightful live stream covering Stardom Crimson Nightmare, and my guest today is Meerkat Ultra. Meerkat, how is your day going so far?
Hello. Thank you for inviting me. It's doing great. Long day, but long Sunday, but now I'm here and it's gonna be fun.
There's been a lot of great wrestling going on this weekend. There is still a lot of Stardom wrestling to take place. There is a Korakuen Hall show tonight where the high speed title and the Goddess tag titles will be fought over. And we've got, a busy November that's also going to include the Goddess of Stardom Tag League. But first, we got to get through whatever this Crimson Nightmare ends up being. That is such an ominous event title. It reminds me of the Conversion, which just makes you think, okay, they're going to do something at this show. And I'll be curious to hear as we get through this discussion how much or what we think they're actually going to do, because there is some potential for us to really see them shake things up. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I do. I like the name. It's very edgy sounding, very like new metal. Very it very much fits Saya Kamatani's whole thing. So I mean, I dig it. I always dig it when they use these names. It should be a fun. It should be like a fun like main event match. It's kind of like the whole big appeal for this event is Saya Kamitani versus Momo Watanabe, of course. So yeah, I'm very much hyped for that portion, and excited to hear more of the card when they announce it. So
yeah, that's a good point, because we only really have the 3 matches to talk about. We've got this double title match, we've got a white belt title match, and then we have a very special singles match that is bound to entertain, to terrify. And there's still going to be plenty to talk about with just these 3. If they don't end up adding any other major battles, I think we still might have a solid show to cover. And I'll return again to this title, Crimson Nightmare, which I think does play into a little bit of the red belt reign that we've been watching. Crimson could also indicate that we might have one or more bloody battles taking place for a couple of different reasons. And the term nightmare has been what Saya Kamitani has referred to her rulership over Stardom. She ended the Twilight Dream back in April, and now we've been living with this nightmare. She's constantly referred to this term. And the question's going to be, is the nightmare something that she will inflict upon others, or will, in a cruel twist of fate, it kind of turn on her? Which is going to actually lead me to my first question for you. Yeah. I've got some true or false stuff, as usual, for anybody who will be watching here. But first, I want to see what you are thinking. So the first question I have, Meerkat, which wrestler do you think will have the worst nightmare at this event? Who will fall the farthest, do you think?
Yeah, Bozilla. What's she thinking? My God. She's going after instant kill Kashima. Yeah, terrible idea. So she's definitely going to feel it. I mean, not even a joke. Even she's going to fall accidentally to a Kishikase, and she's going to learn the hard way that you don't mess with Saki Kashima, the protector of Shuri, the IWGP Women's Champion.
I didn't know I was going to be horrified so early into the stream, but I am absolutely shivering. The chills are immense.
But but I don't know. I'm not too sure about that. Because it seems like we'll get to it. We'll get to the main event and talk more about that and how. But I'm pretty sure Saya Kamitani, who we need to be referring to as Saya Sama, by the way. She is our Lord. She's not God, by the way. That's God here. Shout out to Raku and her $40 shirt that I had to buy. Sorry, was it 40? Yeah, it was 40. But yeah, Saya Sama is probably going to reign supreme for a while. Her reign of terror is very it's very powerful. It's not just powerful, it's now reaching like mainstream levels on Japanese TV for Stardom now, and it's pretty wild actually. Like I don't talk about it on the channel like at all, I would say, but it's pretty crazy appearing on Japanese TV and all the appearances that Sai has been making on TV as well, just being a person. So
For sure, it's like a growing list of
it's hard to see.
Yeah.
It's hard to see like that reign like ending anytime soon. If I'm being honest, it's really hard.
All right, well, let's go ahead. Why don't we just cover this topic right now? Let's talk about the main event of Stardom Crimson Nightmare. The aforementioned Saya Kamitani is facing the 5-star Grand Prix winner, Momo Watanabe, someone who shares a stable with Saya in the Hate faction, but also someone who shares an immense amount of history with Saya Kamitani. I do want to talk about the major beats in the storyline between these two, the major moments over the years. But firstly, I want to say that going into this match, I think it would be a fantastic choice for Stardom to have Momo Watanabe wearing the white and gold gear that we've seen her wear at the 5-star finals. We saw her wear at Historic Crossover 2 in November of last year. I think that would set such a visual contrast and such a character contrast between this domineering champion and Momo Watanabe, the challenger who is hoping to finally reach the top of Stardom and reclaim some of her former glory. I think this would just be a powerful dynamic to add, and it would add intensity to this match. Now, let's talk about some of the background between Saya Kamitani and Momo Watanabe. This goes as far back as you can go, with Saya Kamitani's debut versus Momo in August of 2019, a long-standing friendship between the two within the Queen's Quest faction, up until the point that Momo Watanabe betrayed Queen's Quest to join Oedo Tai in December of 2021. The years progressed with a few skirmishes between the two, but the most notable of these being not only the fact that Saya Kamitani defeated Momo Watanabe in February of 2023 with the white belt title on the line, but in that win, Saya Kamitani was able to break Momo's white belt defense record. And the victorious Saya Kamitani would move forward to June of 2023 at Stardom Sunshine, an extremely memorable steel cage match in which Saya was tempted by Momo Watanabe to turn villainous. But Saya, in that match, atop the steel cage, remained loyal to Queen's Quest, was offered Momo's bat, and used that bat to strike Momo and secure the victory for her faction at the time. That would start to dovetail or maybe nosedive into some of the darker moments of this story. The conversion of 2024, where Momo Watanabe tricks Saya Kamitani by faking a face turn and using that deception, maybe the first use of that phrase, but not the last, to fracture Queen's Quest. This was in June of 2024 at the first ever event titled The Conversion. And not long after, tail end of July, we saw Saya Kamitani herself falling into darkness, joining Momo Watanabe, joining the dark side, and the Oedo Tai faction becoming hate at Sapporo World Rendezvous. Then we would progress to see signs of a different turn. Momo Watanabe wearing that white and gold gear, as I said, firstly doing so at Historic Crossover 2, November of 2024, refusing to cheat in her match against Mayu Iwatani, showing us glimpses that she might be able to redeem herself in some way. And as depicted here, of course, one of the greatest accolades of Momo's career, winning the 5-star GP, wearing white and gold, and once again, refusing to cheat, this time against Azumi, also someone with history in Queen's Quest. And here we are. The win itself has been utilized so that Momo Watanabe can challenge Saya Kamitani not only for the World of Stardom title, but also for the New Japan Women's Strong title, which was obtained in the month of September. So you've given me a bit of a heads up on what you think is about to happen with this match, my friend. But I have a question a little bit more specifically pointed towards Momo Watanabe, and then I will talk a little bit more about my thoughts about what could happen with this match. But my question for you pertains to the trajectory Momo has been on. We've watched her over the years. We've had this tendency to speculate and to question how she might evolve, how she might be able to get to that next tier. And we've seen a bit of a breakthrough with this 5-star Grand Prix win. A fantastic moment for her, a really strong tournament showing for her and a number of other wrestlers. But I want to know how you're feeling about her standing currently. It doesn't sound like you're too confident in her chances, but I'd like to know, Meerkat, has Momo Watanabe's overall situation improved enough since winning the 5-star? And if there is something to be adjusted about her status quo, what do you think that should be in terms of Stardom's booking and the storytelling overall?
Yeah, it just seems like Momo Watanabe just like needs to not be a part of Hate anymore and maybe lead her own unit. It's more than likely what it seems like it needs to happen. Like the momentum needs to just to be more interesting, because right now it's just like 2 Hate members just facing each other who have history. Like you said, they have a lot of history. That was Saya Kamitani's debut opponent in Queen's Quest, all that stuff. But it's not as, I don't know. It doesn't seem personal to me at all. But I am happy for Momo Watanabe for winning the 5-star Grand Prix, though. So I mean, I was happy about that, and that in itself is the major accomplishment that's going to last her whole career, more so than this red belt match. So that's something that will be never taken away from her. But that being said, I don't like her chances in regards to winning this, and plus that New Japan Strong title is such like an eyesore as well. From what I understand, I don't think those are going to be existing anymore, but I don't know. That's just something I saw. I don't know if that's real or not. It's such an eyesore, though. that needs to go away. It's just yeah.
Well, I think it's Saya Kamitani herself was saying that the belt looks rotten. It looks like rotten fruit or something. She's very much been maligning the imagery of the belt, and she's holding it. So,
but yeah. Otherwise, yeah, I think Momo Watanabe should be leading something. I don't know what that would be, honestly, but I think she should. It would be much more interesting. And Stardom likes to work in like factions and stuff, so it'd be much more interesting if she leads her own unit. I don't know, something a little bit more interesting than what we got right now. More like violence, more like, I don't know. It was much more interesting when Momo Watanabe was trying to like bring in and being the snake whispering into her ear. Then it's kind of been like now is what I guess I'm getting at.
Yeah, and we've done a few of these streams. It's all good. We've done a few of these streams at this point where the topic of Momo Watanabe and her potential just constantly comes up. I think it's been at least a year of us trying to work this out, trying to come up with ideas, trying to predict what they're going to do. So speaking of predictions, I'm going to talk a little bit about the case to be made for either of these wrestlers. I tend to agree with you that Saya Kamitani does have the stronger case in terms of winning the Crimson Nightmare main event, but I will list a few pieces of evidence in support of both, and then we'll turn it over to the viewers with our true or false to discuss another aspect of this show. But firstly, let's talk about the case to make for Saya Kamitani as the winner of this double title match at Crimson Nightmare. Saya Kamitani has already announced that she is going to be performing at the Tokyo Dome in January of 2026. And not only is she going to be performing at that show, which is Wrestle Kingdom, a New Japan show, but she wants to be a primary factor in bringing Stardom to the Tokyo Dome, hosting their own show, which would require a turnout of at least 10,000 fans or more to justify utilizing that venue. You've already done a really great job of talking about some of her accomplishments. The popularity of the Phoenix Queen has created unprecedented commercial achievements for Stardom. And Stardom right now is not getting any signs that Saya Kamitani's momentum is decreasing. We've also seen a recent trend with Stardom booking between 2024 and 2025 that tournament champions have not had a strong tendency of utilizing that tournament win to go on and win singles belts. We had Hanan winning the Cinderella tournament of 2024 and leading to an unsuccessful challenge. We had Micah winning the 5-star Grand Prix of 2024 and also leading to an unsuccessful challenge. And we had Sayaka Kurata winning the Cinderella tournament of this year, 2025, and also leading to an unsuccessful challenge, which brings us to Momo Watanabe, the winner of the 5-star GP. I talked about the timeline, the big historic moments between Momo and Saya. And in that story, Momo Watanabe to this point has more or less had the last laugh. The 2024 conversion trickery that shattered Queen's Quest was sort of the last major moment as the two of them were facing each other as enemies. And this year, to some degree, has been about Saya Kamitani getting her revenge and taking things from her enemies. She took a hell of a lot from the Cosmic Angels faction this year. She took the New Japan Women's Strong title from Azumi when she prompted Azumi to put that belt on the line. She took her first victory over Bea Priestley in the month of September. This has been a consuming reign from Saya Kamitani, and Momo Watanabe might be the next person on that list to be consumed. So that is the case for Saya Kamitani. I'm going to talk a bit about the case for Momo Watanabe now. And Momo Watanabe does have a few things going for her. I will say not as strong of a case, not as many pieces of evidence, but I can't help but think back to an interview by President Taro Okada, where he stated that one of his fears as the president of Stardom is stagnation. His philosophy is that he would rather make bold choices and then try to navigate the waters from the standpoint of having made those choices. He would rather do that than end up just stale and floating in place, feeling repetitive, feeling stuck. We also have to note that Momo Watanabe is willing to travel quite often. We've seen the New Japan Strong Women's Belt in shows in the United States. We've seen it, of course, in Japan. But she does have some potential to be an international force for Stardom. And this is something that Saya Kamitani has stated at least once or twice that she doesn't have a particular interest in. She's not so focused on traveling very much. And also for most of this rivalry between the two of them, we have seen Momo Watanabe putting Saya over. I think it's possible that Saya Kamitani may want to return the favor at some points and at some gigantic stage. And Crimson Nightmare could end up being that stage. But I do have to admit that I largely agree with your prediction that there seems to be just too much going for Saya Kamitani right now for her to be dethroned on November 3rd. So do you have any thoughts about what I've just brought up, or would you like us to move to the true or false from here?
Yeah, I think you covered that pretty nicely, actually, and I tend to agree. I think Saya Kamitani's like reign is just very, very strong. She has a mission right now, and a lot of that has to do parallel with a lot of with Tam Nakano's own mission, of wanting to push it further. She calls it the curse, if I'm not mistaken. The curse of Tam Nakano still stuck with her. It's really nice, simple, but effective storytelling detail that that I actually really enjoy. It's a good way to keep her spirit alive, and it makes sense to me. I don't know. I like it. It's simple and silly, but I do like it. And she has like a major ambition to achieve right now. It doesn't mean anything though. In regards to like wrestling storylines, because that can change all the time. And but I think she is gonna just keep that thing for a very long time. So and especially because Tokyo Dome and Wrestle Kingdom seems to be a pretty big idea. So I would like to see that happen.
And there's going to be a lot more to talk about with the future of Saya Kamitani, the match between Saya and Momo, because a lot of our question and answer, our Q&A, pertains to this match, to these character dynamics, and to what Stardom is, what they've got up their sleeve. So before we move on to other topics, I do want to ask a true or false question. First of all, thanks to everyone who is checking this out here. We've got our first true or false question for you, and it does pertain to the dynamics going on between Saya and Momo within the Hate faction. So let's take a look at this. True or false? A wrestler is leaving Hate by the end of Crimson Nightmare. There are belts on the line, but there has been strife between faction members. The name Crimson Nightmare makes me think that Hate is really going to take somebody down a couple of pegs. And that somebody might actually be within Hate itself. So we've got a couple people who think this is actually something that could come to pass. Multiple predictions that we will, in fact, see some kind of, I don't want to say changing of the guard, but some kind of shifting of the chess pieces within Hate. All right, I would say this is about unanimous here. I'm just going to, for a moment, look through our comments, see if there's anything else. Okay, this is actually pretty relevant. Bronson Taylor, since Starlight Kid was exiled, I've been worried about Momo getting jumped out. And I think that's a valid worry to have. Starlight Kid, of course, exiled from, at the time, Oedo Tai at All-Star Grand Queendom 2024. And it does really feel that if you were going to jump somebody, Momo Watanabe does not have the best track record in keeping her faction looking strong. She has slipped up. That baseball bat has gone many different directions and hit many different people, often unintended. And you just can't help but think that maybe the chickens will come home to roost. It's just a question of when. Okay, I like this. We've got something kind of story intense. And I urge everyone to check out the Talk for Glory series by Enigma V4, who has a comment here. Momo had a hand in ending Queen's Quest, so Saya will get her own personal revenge by kicking her out of Hate. That has quite a dark poetic ring to it. And it could be something that will occur on November 3rd. And to think that it couldn't get any darker than something like that, we've got other storylines, other conflicts to address. Not only is the red belt and the New Japan Strong belt on the line, but in our co-main event, the Wonder of Stardom title will be on the line when Starlight Kid will be facing a potential nightmare of her own. She's going to be rematching Konami, the thorn in her side, the person who has been tormenting her time and time again. And this challenge came about during the literal 10th anniversary of Starlight Kid. Now, to clarify, this is not the 10th anniversary show that Starlight Kid produced, but the day of October 11th, the literal anniversary where Starlight Kid was battered by Konami with a bouquet of white roses, the symbolic imagery that has attended Starlight Kid's white belt title reign. And Konami ushered this challenge for a second time this year. The previous challenge took place on March 15th at the Cinderella Finals. And true to form, this left Starlight Kid bloodied and battered, despite the fact that Starlight Kid ended up getting the win over Konami. And ever since, Konami has been tormenting Starlight Kid with one form of villainy or another. Firstly, physically stealing the Artist of Stardom titles from Starlight Kid's team and going on to challenge for those artist belts on more than one occasion, and ultimately winning the belts from Neo Genesis when Konami made Starlight Kid tap out. And this was back in September, I believe. This has so far been a tremendous white belt reign for Starlight Kid. This has involved Starlight Kid making a number of her challengers look really good. Starlight Kid has helped Rina and Hanako get over as underdogs. And Starlight Kid has rekindled fights with story-heavy enemies like Azumi, for instance, also Saori Ano. And I say all that to say the following, which is something I didn't know I would ever be saying. I think Konami is going to win the white belt. And I am going to go in depth with what I think Stardom is planning with this win. But firstly, I'll say it's very rare for a second challenge against a single champion to fail. The only person that I can think of that fell short in their second challenge for a singles belt in recent memory was when Rana Yagami fought Hina recently. But largely, if you get a second chance, if you're a wrestler in Stardom, you tend to take advantage of that second chance and not let it slip through your grasp. So I do want to talk about my white belt storyline theory, which involves a Starlight Kid loss at Stardom Crimson Nightmare. And what becomes of Starlight Kid from there? What becomes of Konami and the white belt from there? So we're going to have to talk about a few things to wrap our heads around this. Firstly, we need to talk about someone who's had a pivotal 2025, one of the breakout performers of 2025, and someone who challenged for the white belt in February of 2025. I am talking about the Pink Devil, Rina. There has been a lot of conjecture about Rina's destiny and how it connects to the white belt. And Rina has been building up as a persona. She has been building up as a Stardom wrestler, building up as a legitimate threat to everyone on the roster. But as a part of that build, she had to first navigate the future of Stardom landscape. I'm going to take us back to 2024 for a moment. When Rina faced her twin sister, Hina, this was a pivotal match in the future of Stardom division, as Rina would be able to surpass the defense record set by her older sister, Hanan. And in this match against her twin sister, Hina, Rina attempted to perform the Tiger Lily technique. The Tiger Lily is a signature move of Hana Kimura, someone very, very closely connected to Rina. And this move has continued to show up in various battles being fought by Rina. She would go on to attempt the Tiger Lily against Miyu Amasaki at Nagoya Golden Fight, also in 2024. And she would attempt this move against Starlight Kid herself at Path of Thunder in February of this year in the Tochigi Prefecture, where Rina hails from. And lastly, she attempted the Tiger Lily against Azumi in the semifinals of the 5-Star Grand Prix this year. I believe that it is Rina's destiny to win the white belt at the point in time that she can finally complete the Tiger Lily technique. Now the question becomes, who will that take place against? Many people are lobbying for a rematch between Rina and Starlight Kid. But what I say to you today is that we now have an Artists of Stardom Championship team that very much resembles the Tokyo Cyber Squad faction of old. All of the members between Rina, Konami, and Fukigen Death have a history in Tokyo Cyber Squad. In fact, a 2019 Artists of Stardom title holding team involving Hana Kimura also had Konami as a part of it and had Hana Kimura holding the pink belt that the Pink Devil now holds. I believe that Rina is going to have to face her Artist of Stardom champion teammate and former Tokyo Cyber Squad teammate Konami for the white belt. And Rina will finally land the Tiger Lily against Konami to become white belt champion. There are at least 3 places that this could happen. Stardom Dream Queendom at the end of the year is a viable option. If Stardom returns to Tochigi sometime next year around February, the prefecture that all 3 of the sisters call their home, that would also be a fitting setting for this match. And if we want to prolong this story even further, All-Star Grand Queendom next year with a Rina Cinderella tournament win could also be a fitting setting for this match. But this does require Starlight Kid to drop the white belt at Crimson Nightmare. Now, if that happens and Starlight Kid is unable to hold on to the Wonder of Stardom title, and if you, Meerkat, are correct that Momo Watanabe will fall short of winning the red belt and the New Japan Strong belt, and if some of the viewers are correct that someone's getting kicked out of hate, I've got more to throw onto this theory. It's going to get a little bit stranger. But if the nightmare is truly horrific for Starlight Kid and Momo Watanabe, we'll have to take note that just a handful of days later, the Stardom Goddess of Stardom Tag League will begin. So I believe it's possible, if all of these things seem to line up, which is pretty unlikely that all of them will, but if they do, we could be treated to a reunion of the tag team once known as Black Desire. Starlight Kid and Momo Watanabe competing in the Goddess of Stardom Tag League. This is probably a long shot. I will admit that. I'm not placing money on this type of bet, but I think this would be a great way to send just absolute electric kinetic energy into the Goddess of Stardom Tag League. And in an interesting echo of 2024, I could see Starlight Kid in over the course of this tag league getting a victory against the World of Stardom champion Saya Kamitani and using that victory as leverage to initiate a challenge at Stardom Dream Queendom for the red belt, which is exactly how Saya Kamitani was able to challenge for the red belt at last year's Stardom Dream Queendom with a win over Tam Nakano in the Goddess of Stardom Tag League. So it's quite a dense theory. There are a lot of claims, there are a lot of if statements going along with that. But just out of curiosity, does that sound intriguing? Does that sound batshit? Does that sound...
Well, it sounds like a those martial arts epics, where like she's been trying to train to hit that one move for the entirety of her life, and now she's finally gonna hit it right at the end. She got the 5-finger palm death strike thingy. I don't remember, but yeah, Yeah. But the thing is about the entire storyline that reminds me of, and it's kind of like why I really like one of Stardom's many great strengths, actually, that I always talk about, is their like very rich and dense character history that a lot of them have together. I didn't really connect that if Konami and Rina faced each other, that they themselves have so much history just in that alone. I forgot about that. You know, it's just you're completely right. And that's like the amazing thing about that. That's kind of the amazing thing about the three sisters in general, Rina, Hina, and Hanan, is that they themselves just have so much history with a lot of people, and they're bringing all these new people. Rina bringing in the little gremlin over there into the mix, and now they got a bunch of lore together, and that's the kind of like the great thing about Stardom. And they're so young too, and that this can continue for like 20 years of just building histories and histories and histories. So that's something I really really appreciate from Stardom. And sometimes it get really nuanced, and sometimes it plays into it, and sometimes it doesn't. But you know that doesn't matter though, because for me as a fan, I don't necessarily watch it under the guise of being I watch it like it's art that doesn't have subtitles for me, like a Japanese film doesn't have subtitles. That's what got me excited about Stardom to begin with, is that I had to like use prior knowledge of what I have, knowing about their histories, and then using context clues and their brilliant performing acting and their eyes to really figure out what their histories and their relationships with each other. And that's always been the most interesting thing to me. So that's really exciting. I'm sorry that brought on that rant, but yeah, it's a fun theory. I mean, I think I do think Konami has a very strong chance of being Starlight Kid. Starlight Kid is over 300 days into her really great white belt reign that I have not talked about at all. But it's a great white belt reign, and she's going to head into her 7th defense. And as great it would be to potentially see maybe Starlight Kid having a crazy forever run, I definitely don't think it might happen here. You definitely are correct. Is that when Stardom gives a second chance to a wrestler, they usually do get the job done. So yeah, I do think Konami has a strong chance, and great on Konami as well. It's been a long time. So and I do like your storyline pitch for Rina. She's definitely going to get that white belt at some point, but I like it. I like the idea. It's fun, you know. But I really do agree with you. It's probably going to be Konami, you know.
It is a bit of a dark,
bit of a hate dominance, but
oh yeah, absolutely. And we actually do have a Q&A question about the hate dominance going on right now. It would be a fairly dark story shift for Starlight Kid, and I do think there would be some intriguing ways for her to play the rebound, bouncing back from such a low point. But we're gonna have to wait and see. It might not even happen. Let's go ahead and get to our next true or false question, which is going to be somewhat agnostic to the winner of this match. This question pertains to whoever might be winning the match, because I mentioned the conjecture that has been going around about Rina perhaps getting another really clear shot at this belt. So let's go with our next true or false here for everyone. True or false? The winner of this match will face Rina at Stardom Dream Queendom. So we will take a moment to see what folks think. Will Rina be able to usher in the year 2026 as Wonder of Stardom champion? Rina has done such a phenomenal job this year.
Yeah, her rise has been incredible.
It's been unbelievable to some degree. We have her depicted here with, I believe, 4 trophies that she won for her 5-star GP run. So let's see. We've got a lot of positive reinforcement about this question. Absolutely true that Rina will face the winner of this match at the end of the year. No questions to ask. True, Rina's on a high right now. It's another unanimous vote. This time on behalf of the Pink Devil, who I really can't say enough good things about in terms of what she's been able to do. I'm going to look through the comments, see if there's anything else that has been mentioned, because I was rambling for a while. So
it's all good. It's like, yeah, again, you remind me a lot of like when I'm covering Stardom for the Fair Channel and stuff like that. When I do these things, like really depends on my mood, which I mean, like really slated mood, which is why I've been a lot of TJPW. But like with Stardom, though, it's very mythic the way I look at it, and it's one of the few companies I can really approach it in that way because it just feels that way. It's so much depth going on. I really, really, really enjoy talking about it in that fashion.
Yeah, and I think your commentary on Stardom's storytelling and what you get out of it has been really insightful so far. I do have some comments I found about people who like the idea about Starlight Kid teaming back up with Momo Watanabe. I would take a chokeslam from Bozilla to see Black Desire reunite. We also have Black Desire reunion or Momo as reunion for Tag League would be an insane thing to see. I think it would really get people
That
to
would.
turn heads.
I forgot to talk about that, but that would be really insane too. Yeah, I agree because that would be great. Great to see. Honestly, yeah.
Ooh, I like this one here. Little shout out to you, Meerkat. I was rewatching Meerkat's video on Kamitani, and there's so many story beats they can play off, making Saya struggle to stay on top. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, she's crossed paths with so many people. She had to defend the white belt. I think it was 15 times against a lot of different people. A lot of that past could come back to haunt her in different ways.
It was a big deal. She really wanted to like shatter Momo Watanabe's record in a lot of ways for revenge for like betraying Queen's Quest. You know, it's just, yeah, it's a lot of back and forth.
Absolutely. Now, in contrast to back and forth, we might have to look at something that could end up being very, very one-sided. Because due to the tragic, unfortunate language barrier that exists, we have ended up with Bozilla participating in what might be her last match because she has barked up a tree that I don't know we're going to be able to get her back down from, as Bozilla will be taking on the master of 1,000 pins, Saki Kashima of God's Eye, sometimes called Instant Kill Kashima, I believe Bronson Taylor used as a nickname. You can call her what you will, but this is going to be one to remember. I'm just going to recap a little bit and let everyone know this story actually does involve 3 people, not just Saki Kashima, not just Bozilla.
The mastermind.
Yeah, there's always someone pulling the puppet strings behind the scenes. And this time it happens to be the Tokimeki Spear herself, Sayaka Kurara, the person who seemingly, possibly accidentally convinced Saki Kashima to take this match because the English and Japanese translation was not going over very well. And prior to this, Saki Kashima had been fixated on Sayaka Kurara, very affectionate towards her, despite the fact that they are from different factions. But I think all of that positive interaction might be over now that this match has been booked. And I think this is already pretty highly anticipated. Just this pairing kind of sells itself. There's no belt involved. There's no record to break. There's no retirement stipulation. None of that stuff is really needed. It's just based on the fact that Saki Kashima is truly one of the most entertaining and hilarious and creative wrestlers that Stardom has. And I think she's going to play into just about everything. The size difference, the language barrier, the personality difference, and just a number of antics that I don't think we're going to be able to predict. And I think this match does have like a decent chance of outshining a lot of other things going on with this card. But you are far greater of a Saki Kashima expert than I am. So I'm going to turn things over to you and just get your initial thoughts on this absolute squash match.
Yeah, I mean, Bozilla basically got just like completely killed. I mean, Saki Kashima is going to like completely get killed here, but that's the point because I mean, she always rises from the brink of death, which is the whole point. Yeah, I mean, she basically has a mechanic built into her character where she will rise with 1 HP every single time. You just can't end her. You really have to like not beat around the bush when you actually hit a finishing move on her and not lift her up and something. You know, you can't beat around the bush. She'll rise from the face of death and lock you in the Kishi Kaisei. I will say though that Sayaka Kurara is you know, she's pulling the cute act, you know, pulling the you know, I'm innocent, you know, but she knows what she's doing. She's working for Okada, and you know, and just like Rossi before, you know, once again, these bookers are just trying to kill Saki Kashima constantly, and then wow.
Yeah, this is a fabled picture of a mobster meeting involving Taro Okada, the big boss, and Sayaka Kurata here.
Shoot, sorry.
It's all good. Everything okay? We've got a little bit of a delay. It sounds like some kind of time
Oh,
delay
1
here.
second. No, I had like a little
I
weird.
think they might be listening in. I think Kurata's hearing this, and
No, I'm
we're in
watching.
danger.
I have Netflix on. Sorry, I had Netflix on my other thing, and yeah, I'm trying to watch like horror movies. Sorry.
Oh, okay. To kind of fit the theme of the show, Crimson Nightmare. All right. Well, we're gonna keep it pushing.
No, sorry, I was on my rant here. So yeah, they just keep on trying to kill our little demon here, you know. And it's gonna be a great match. Honestly, it's gonna be really entertaining. It would be just hilarious, honestly, if Brazil just completely smashed Kashima, but it wouldn't be as interesting in that sense. I think I want to see them just go and have a lot of fun out there. I really like it when Saki Kashima is like just being her typical self, especially now more lately. I see her just like. Sorry, I'm just thinking about how the match can go.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways that this could.
She's like one of the funniest wrestlers out there. Still, I still get a lot of joy from her. And Bozilla is great for Stardom too. I forgot to mention that, but like I really enjoy like seeing like a really large like gigantic German woman just smash these women around, toss them around everywhere. It's freaking awesome. And like the name Bozilla alone always sold me the instant I heard that. Just Bozilla.
Yeah, I agree. I actually don't have like a ton to say about the matchup, but I agree with you. You know, the crowd seems to really like Bozilla. The other wrestlers in the promotion seem to really like Bozilla. I do have a suspicion that this could give us something to anticipate when it comes to the Goddess of Stardom Tag League, which is starting on November 7th. And maybe there will be some kind of strange team involving people from separate factions, some combination of Saki Kashima, Sayaka Kurata, Bozilla, maybe somebody else that we're not even really thinking about. So that is something I want to ask you directly, which is the question about where this could take us. You've kind of already answered the first half of this, which is how suicidal is Bozilla for taking this match? But also, is there any hope of reconciliation afterwards, a friendship blossoming? Maybe Saki Kashima will realize that she can utilize, maybe she could use a new bodyguard or something like that. And maybe they'll team up in the tag league.
That'll be a very entertaining tag, you know. And Bozilla has any sense, she would like take on the protector Saki Kashima and learn, just like Shuri did. You know, Shuri's IWGP Women's Champion and finally defeated Shuri. What I mean, there's no coincidence there. But in all honesty, though, it'll be hilarious and very entertaining. Yeah, as always, I enjoy Saki Kashima. So yeah, I actually really am highly looking forward to this match, mostly because I'm gonna do a video on it, obviously. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it. The moment I saw that they were feuding and she's doing the whole no match thing, I was just like, oh, this is great. I've been waiting for this.
Yeah, this is ideal. And this is an ideal topic for a Meerkat Ultra video. All right, let's ask the viewers a bit about a member of, or a key component of this match, which is Bozilla herself. True or false? Bozilla will be a front runner for this year's Goddess Tag League. Ultimately, there are so many people she could team with that would make a very, very compelling duo, a very formidable force. And we've seen foreigners do well in the Goddess of Stardom Tag League in the past. In 2023, Megan Bain teamed up with Micah to win that year's Goddess of Stardom Tag League. And Bozilla has a similar sort of presence in the roster. We've got one true from Bloody Money 47. Yes, depends on who the partner is. I mean, we could see Bozilla teaming up with Suzu Suzuki. That would be quite a wrecking ball to move through the tag league. All right, we've got some more speculation on a possible partner. I think it depends on her partner. Suzu would likely be the only one because she doesn't get aggressive, like how Bozilla seemed to talk down to Akira a bit. Yeah, we did see Bozilla spaz out on some of the members of Mi Vida Loca at least once, possibly more. Was that an isolated incident? Maybe it does need someone like Saki Kashima to truly get Bozilla in check. And we've also got true if Suzu is the partner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that team is really hard to picture losing to too many people. So we're going to look through the comments just a little bit more, since this is the only other current match that we know about going on at Crimson Nightmare. Let's see if anyone else had any amusing banter to throw in about the Saki Kashima and Bozilla match. Oh no. Heresy. Saki Kashima needs to be taken to Suplex
This
City.
is not a Kashimaniac here. How dare
Oh my
you?
goodness.
Saki Kashima is going to take Bozilla to Kashimania. Kashimaniacs are going to rise up.
Oh man, we've got some anti-Kashi maniacs in the comments. I will spare us a few of this.
Shoot.
Oh, I like we got Impossible in the chat. No match. That has become a bit of a new catchphrase for Saki Kashima. And also the pic of Saki giving the finger on Twitter goes hard. Yeah, she was flipping somebody off out there. I don't have much context or information. I think that was from a recent show that hasn't been broadcast just yet. But getting a little bit more aggressive. Maybe she's psyching herself up a little bit for this contest. So now that we've talked about the three primary fights going on with Stardom Crimson Nightmare, I am going to open up the discussion a little bit. Is there anything we haven't gotten a chance to cover so far, Meerkat, that you wanted to bring to our attention? Anything to point out before we get into our Q&A?
For Stardom, no, not at the moment. I think we talked about the major bits. And then yeah.
All right, fair enough. So let's start to turn things over. We've had a number of pre-existing questions sent to us. So thank you very much to everyone who submitted some questions. Many, many questions pertaining to the competitors at Crimson Nightmare. So it seems like there are a lot of eyes that will be on this event. And a lot of you are wondering how this is all going to go. Firstly, not to do directly with Crimson Nightmare, but with one of the major players in Stardom. We have a question from Brian B97 pertaining to Starlight Kid, who recently did have her 10th anniversary show. And I believe this is still available on Stardom's YouTube page. If you check out the live videos section of the Stardom official YouTube page, you can watch the entire 10th anniversary show. The question asks, who from that show do you want to have a match at Crimson Nightmare or at Dream Queendom? But we cannot pick Stardom wrestlers. So I'm not sure if you've seen this show, but there were just such a laundry list of people that made appearances. Did you want to go first on this one? I think
it's an easy one.
Easy. Okay.
Yeah, it's always Emi Sakura.
That's a great choice.
It's always Emi Sakura. Emi Sakura everywhere. She needs to be treated like the queen that she deserves always. So yeah.
Very solid.
I don't know what should be involved in, but yeah, always. Yeah, she's every time she's around, it's great. So yeah.
Yeah, that would be a really fun addition to a year-ending show like Dream Queendom. I think we could find something for her. I have a couple of options. I actually have 3, I believe. So let me just quickly rattle these off. So firstly, I have to say at this show, the appearance that shocked me the most, and I was more surprised by this than I've been in a long time, was the emergence of Jungle Kyona. My reaction to this was pure shock, and I absolutely think that she'd be welcome to return for some kind of match, some kind of tag outing involving some of the former Tokyo Cyber Squad members. But also, I was impressed with the performance of Momoe Nakanishi. She can still move very well. She's very dynamic, still has a lot of energy. Seems like she's still got it. So let's get her into some kind of fun rumble at the beginning of every Stardom pay-per-view ever. And then lastly, really hard to object to getting Chihiro Hashimoto involved. She obviously can defend her Sendai Girls belt. And we all know, if you saw her in Marigold last night, if you've seen her at just about at any point, her physicality, her power, her agility, and just that high depth of skill allows her to make most of her matches really, really epic. So I think any of those choices would be really solid. Pretty fun question. I like how you utilize the Starlight Kid 10th anniversary to speculate on Stardom's future.
Riho's a good choice too. Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Riho.
Of course.
And, you know what? Yeah, you know what? Just get El Despy versus Starlight Kid. How about that? Let's get that match finally over with.
Yeah, enough build up. It kept us waiting forever on that one. All right, let's move right along here. We've got Bronson Taylor 4203 with a couple of questions. All right. So this is not so much a prediction, but this is purely based on what our interests are. Who do you want to win between Momo and Kamitani, and why? And we've talked about our predictions about who we think will win. And if I have to pick who I want to win, usually that is a different story. In this case, though, I think at this point, I actually do want Saya Kamitani to win, because what she has been doing for Stardom's success is truly unbelievable. I think that if we are going to put an end to the nightmare, we're going to put an end to the Phoenix Queen's reign. I think the story of her loss, as we've talked a couple of times now, you've mentioned this, some of the viewers have mentioned this, the storytelling potential that she has, if we're going to take these belts from her, I think that needs to be accompanied by a stronger buildup and a stronger story than we currently have. We kind of glossed over this. I don't know that we actually got to mention this, but the potential for a massive storytelling moment between Saya and Momo Watanabe is absolutely there. And up to this point, the hype that has gone into this match has not quite reached the level that I think it could have. So that is my take in terms of who I would like to win. Do you have any thoughts one way or the other on this one?
Yeah, I still believe it's going to be, who I want to win. I mean, as much as I love Momo, and I do, and I want her to get her flowers, I have to agree with you. I think I want something more that you can grasp onto and work with, basically, and make it more of a meaningful, bigger impact moment. Otherwise, it'll just be just a big shock, I would say. And yeah, I think Kamitani still has a lot more potential to do some more interesting things, and yeah, so I would say so. I would say in this case, Kamitani in this case.
Alrighty, and we've got another question from Bronson Taylor 4203. Do you think there might be another motive behind the Konami challenge of SLK again so soon? For example, hate, jumping Neo Genesis, or softening SLK up for the next Rena challenge? Interesting theory here. I think, honestly, as I laid out previously, that the motive simply is to put the belt on Konami and then to have Rena dethrone Konami down the road. Now, will Starlight Kid be in for a complete world of punishment in this match? Possibly. Also, after the match is over, will there be cheating? Will there be interference? Will there be, as stated, a softening up of SLK? I think there's absolutely the chance of that happening. But strictly speaking, I do lean towards Konami winning against Starlight Kid, which, and under any other circumstance, I don't think I'd be saying right now. But how about for you? Are you starting to suspect there might be some other reason that it has hate lined up Starlight Kid here?
No,
are they setting her up?
Yeah, that's that feels very no, I don't think that's gonna happen like that. I agree with you. I think Konami is more, it's more or less a challenge. I think Konami is gonna win. I think if Hate had a bigger plan like that, it would mostly be like spur of the moment, stuff like that. I don't see them as a conniving group like that. Yeah. So I don't think there was a softening up. I think if they want to soften up Starlight Kid, they would just soften her up the week before and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a strong point as well. Okay. Let's see what other questions we have lined up in our queue here. We've got Kurt Beatson, 757. Hello first. Keep up the great work you guys are doing. Well, thank you very much. That's much appreciated. Do you guys believe Mirai will return to help? And we have to put a little trademark here. The little demon of evil cuteness, Saki Kashima against Bozilla.
Oh my god! You know how I came up with that? I came up with that because I needed a title, and I was calling Tam. I think my bid at the time I was calling Tam Nakano the Angel of Cuteness. That's what it was, Divine Angel of Cuteness. And I was looking at Saki Kashima. I was like, well, what's the opposite of that? I don't know, Little Demon of Evil Cuteness. And that's literally how that came up. So, and that's really funny because that title on that video ended up like reaching a lot of people. It was just really random how that worked. Anyways, Go ahead.
As evidenced with this question here. Getting a nice tip of the cap.
Yeah. Oh, Mirai was trying to help. No, I don't. I do think Mirai might make a Stardom appearance eventually. It just seems natural, but I don't see it happening here. That'd be amazing, though. Help her.
Yeah, I mean,
no.
All bets are essentially off with this match, but I can see it happening. Though, honestly, I don't recall a lot of moments in Stardom, specifically between Mirai and Saki Kashima. I do recall that Saki Kashima did seem to take it the hardest when Mirai left Stardom.
Yeah, it was a very brief thing between them. Like Mirai was like defending Saki Kashima to Konami that she was worthy of being a part of God's Eye, and that was kind of like,
oh, you're right.
Yeah, there's that little moment between them, and yeah, that's about it. I think she even forced him to grasp hands. I can't remember exactly, but yeah,
something to that effect. Yeah. Let's see. Do I have any other thoughts about this? Well, I do think that Mirai could easily show up, as you said. I mean, there are a few options for her for sure. She could challenge Shuri for the IWGP belt. She might team up with Ami Sourei, possibly even in the tag league. Something to that degree. Some kind of God's Eye reunion. But for November 3rd, I'll say maybe, because you really don't want to count anything out with a match like that. All right, let's check in to see what other questions are lined up. We have Bloody Money 47. Should Saya Kamitani drop the red belt right now, or should we have Momo get screwed out of the title by her own faction? And also, what about a steel cage match at Queendom for both belts? That was something I hadn't considered. I think there have, up to this point, been a lot of viable opportunities for Momo to have been taken out of hate and attacked by hate. As I said earlier, we've kind of been talking about some kind of evolution to her character, some kind of new paradigm for a while. At least we've been talking about it for at least a year. So I'm not so sure what else to say about her getting screwed over by hate, other than, as I've mentioned, like, I think she should show up in the white and gold gear against Saya on November 3rd. And I personally do think she should get kicked out of the faction. Now, onto this question about a steel cage match. A steel cage match between Saya and Momo. I think that makes for a great story because essentially because of the events of Stardom Sunshine in 2023, where one of Saya Kamitani's standout victorious moments was defying Momo Watanabe at the top of the steel cage and striking her with her own baseball bat, helping Utami Hayashishita at the time reach the top. And just one of the most iconic and symbolic images in all of Stardom occurred at the top of that cage. We kind of missed out on having a steel cage themed show this year. I don't think we had one last year either. And I really like what they did at Stardom Sunshine, and we've yet to see a follow-up. So I kind of like that idea. But how about for yourself, Meerkat?
Yeah, I don't think she's getting screwed out. I think they're going to have like a straight up match, because that seems to be, that's just like what Saya does. Is, there might be some shenanigans and stuff, but I don't see like Momo getting like wholly screwed out of the title or anything like that. From Natsuko Tora, who I would imagine be the person who does the deed. I see it happening after when shenanigans will really happen and big things will happen. But I think the match itself will probably just be straight up with maybe some like just healers things from both of them, baseball bats and whatever. But a steel cage match in Stardom, it's when it comes to Okada, it could like when I'm thinking of even like all of this is like this doesn't seem like something Stardom would do, but then I think about it's Okada. It's hard to predict. Honestly, it really is. Honestly, even though his bold moves haven't been as bold lately, he can still do them. So I would love to see like another steel cage match actually at some point because it'll be a lot of fun. They did have a lot of fun the last time they had it, so. It'd be great.
And just to introduce a little bit of food for thought, we have seen Saya Kamitani and Momo Watanabe share the ring a number of times. So just keep an eye out. There might be a chance this gets really bloody. I kind of think back to like the Mei Sarah and Suzuki match earlier this year. These personal matches that got amplified because there was just this blood red.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. Like at the end of the day, we talked about how there might be like a lack of buildup and all that, but at the end of the day, that it's what happens in the match that ultimately really, really, really matters. And they can make it personal and tell this amazing story just on their match alone. And ultimately, at the end of the day, that's what the strength's going to be. And so, if that happens, that'd be amazing. Then that's kind of like what I really, really ultimately at the end hope for is that they really bring it and go all out like that. Like they will. I know they will, and they have a really great match. So I'm excited to see what the story would be when they actually get down to it.
Yeah, very well said. We've got Faint Rhymes asking a few questions, firstly pertaining to the Hate faction. Do you think Hate will be successful in holding all major Stardom belts soon after Konami versus SLK? And this is something I didn't quite run the numbers on, but I believe that would be true. We have the red belt in the hands of Saya Kamitani. We have the Goddess belts currently in the hands of BMI 2000, who will be defending at Korakuen Hall later tonight. We have the Artists of Stardom titles in the hands of Hate. That pretty much just leaves the white belt in terms of the non-rookie themed Stardom belts. So now that you bring this up, I honestly do think, yes, that's what will happen. Dream Queendom this year is going to once again be about trying to stop this villain faction, just like Dream Queendom was last year.
Oh man.
Yeah, this is serious. We didn't even realize. Any thoughts about Hate holding all the major belts? Do you think that works? Do you think it's kind of
sorry, now it's like let's see it written down like that. Yeah, it's a very strong possibility. And then like all you have is Ozzy and Naba who can capture the future at some point if they really want to nail this point home. But
you're absolutely right about that. That add another belt to their collection. Okay, so let's add another question to our stream. Another Faint Rhymes question. If you don't see Saya losing, which we both have stated that that's kind of where we're leaning, do you have any predictions on when and where her downfall will be? And who do you think can be the one to slay the Phoenix Queen? I like your wording here. Now, I've talked a bit about this. I did make a video which was called Who Can Stop Kamitani? This was Red Belt Radio's 77th transmission. So I encourage everyone to either watch or rewatch that video. But I did bring up 4 names as possible heirs to the throne. And I think those 4 names are still the same for me. So firstly, I mentioned Momo Watanabe. I also mentioned Maika, the Empress, upon her return. I also mentioned Ami Sourei of God's Eye. And lastly, Natsupoi of Cosmic Angels. Now, you asked about when and who. I think that next year's All-Star Grand Queendom, which is the April show, I think that show should have a significant Saya moment of some kind since it's 1 year after the retirement of Tam Nakano at the hands of Saya. That's not necessarily where the loss could take place, but depending on execution, I'll say maybe to that. But also, if Stardom does want to make the Tokyo Dome a reality, then I think that Stardom is likely going to need to extend Saya Kamitani's reign and possibly even have her get closer to breaking the defense record for this belt like she did for the white belt. which will build up more story, build up more hype, and just build up the Stardom sort of profile more and more and more. So, but I do have some other thoughts about, when a big Saya Kamitani fall could take place. Now, if they do another Sapporo show next year, which takes place usually in late July, that actually might be a good place for either Maika or Natsupoi to win the belt from Saya, because Maika was initially betrayed by Saya Kamitani and lost her red belt when Saya joined Hate officially, which was at Sapporo World Rendezvous, July of 2024. And this year at Sapporo Rendezvous, Natsupoi challenged Saya. So the timing of the show takes place in the summer. And the summer is where Natsupoi tends to get a lot of her big wins. Her naming convention and her character tends to pertain to the summer season. So she gets big character moments historically around that time of year. But barring that, we might be kind of strapped in for the Saya reign for quite some time. I could even see the 2026 5-star being about who is going to be crowned to try and take out Saya Kamitani, not at this year's Dream Queendom, but next year's Dream Queendom. I mean, there's really not a clear case against Stardom's wishes to make this really go the distance, if that makes sense. Because right now it is just printing them money in terms of ticket sales, merch sales. You mentioned them being on television, just expanding to a larger audience and growing their brand. But what do you think? Who could possibly take up the sword and slay the Phoenix Queen for good?
I think you're absolutely correct in Micah, honestly, because that seems like the really obvious choice. Because Micah is the spoiler for Saya Kamitani's entire career, halting her future, halting her like Cinderella. Halting her future title win and defeating her in the 5-star finals, even defeating her for the red belt earlier that year during that 5-star during last year's. Before she changed, and also Kamitani being responsible for costing Micah her red belt title. It's all there. And Micah is still very much, when she returns, is going to be treated as an elite fighter, as she should be, and is one of their major top stars, as she should be. So it's definitely a great possible correct choice on there. The only other person would possibly be maybe like Starlight Kid, if they really want to, only because she's also very, very, very popular and stuff like in that regard. But I think I really do think Micah has the strongest case to slay this Phoenix Queen, and I do think I agree with you in that Saya Kamitani's reign is more likely going to be long. I can just see it happening. It has a lot of lengths. It just does in regards to where Stardom is at and what they're trying to do. It seems in regards to ticket sales and, as you say, interests and stuff. But yeah, when Micah returns, it's going to be a great moment because, as someone here said, like Saya Kamitani is going to be shaking the boots. Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. But, yeah, that's it. Actually, yeah, it has to be Micah. Know what? Someone who could face Saya Kamitani and realistically be, if you want to just like be fun here, would be Cherie, if they really, really want to. Like, they really want to go that direction, because that is still a major money match. I can see that match honestly happening on like a Surrealism show instead of a Stardom show. But if they really, really want to, they could put the belt on Surreal, just because she does get like a lot of legitimate apparent heat from Japanese fans who just hate her guts. Actually, even when the 5-star happened, my actually thought Surreal was going to win that, just basically based off of that and her credentials and the fact that Surreal is one of the best in the world, period. So I could see that happening, honestly. Yeah, look at her. Look at that. I mean, come on. You can't hate that. I can see that, honestly. That could be like a major thing if they really want to, honestly. But Surreal is a big-time freelancer who will just appear anywhere. But that being said, though, that match needs to happen. It's going to be one of the biggest matches that they can do currently in Joshi, now that Maya versus Io in 2025 has passed. Suri and Saya Kamitani is a match that definitely needs to happen.
Yeah, Sari is still in the mix, which caused people to raise some eyebrows. She will be at Korakuen Hall tonight in a Stardom match. Fresh off of some other appearances. I don't want
Fresh
to
up a
spoil too
Monument
much.
appearance.
Well, okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Was that a spoiler?
I don't know. What really is a spoiler, but
Sorry, I don't know if it was or not. Okay, because I was on Twitter, but I didn't look at the match card or what
yeah,
it was.
well, there was
announced.
okay. Well, we'll just probably move along. Nothing to
move
see
on.
here, folks. But yeah, you bring a great point. That is a very big match. I think Stardom realizes if they're going to continue to expand and make their events bigger, the venues bigger, that they can't just ignore the possibility of that match. But we've got one more question that has been pre-submitted, and then we'll kind of look through other comments to see if anyone else has any questions for us. But the last one from Faint Rhymes. With Saya doing lots of PR work as of late and the noticeable lack of cheating from her, do you see her becoming a full face again? We just talked about her reign probably going for quite a long time indeed. And it's just been so successful at this point. Like, this iteration of the character has just worked so well for them commercially that I'll say one day, yes, Saya will become a baby face in full, but I don't think it'll be for a long time. I think this version of her character is just far too over currently. And people are very much in tune with what she's been doing, and they're very receptive to it. But what do you think?
Yeah, I think I'm probably ignorant as I said because I don't speak Japanese or really know the context in regards to culture. But like I know a lot of wrestlers reference her PR work where she's being cutesy and stuff like that, and not being this heel stuff. And I've seen a lot of fans who criticize that as well. But I just don't see that those two really being correlated. I mean, I know I use it in my analysis because I'm silly, but I think she's very much using the PR work outside just to bring interest in. And so she's just doing everything. She's just being herself, really, and herself is obviously just that idol-like cutesy character, the thing that she's been, like being really passionate about getting people into pro wrestling and crying about it. Even that's really her. But this character that she plays, the Phoenix Queen, is meant to be this evil, which is why she makes me laugh. Because every time I look at her, I just see the cutie, the cute idols crying. But no, she's going to be a full face again. Of course, she will be. It won't be for a while, though. I agree because this product is very much working for her. I don't know how she can possibly do it. She storyline wise, she kind of just killed a god. I mean, she killed one of the biggest freaking wrestlers around and ended it. So that's a really harsh crime. And she also continuously tries to go for that Phoenix Splash, but can't seem to do it. It's almost like she's blocked from doing it. Like I said, if she really did follow the lore of the Phoenix, and I did mention that I'm very serious about it. If she did follow the lore of the Phoenix, the FHENXE version of it, the demon, the Goetian Dermot, the Ars Goetia version of the Phoenix, then she will return back to the heaven. Is what her goal would be. But depending on the translation of that demon, she was deceived and can never return. So she will have to work really hard to return back again. That whole Gnostic aspect. It really depends. If she was sorry to get really deep into that lore, but it really depends on like how deep she really went, honestly, and because I think that'd be really exciting. And also how much control maybe they have of the character too. I don't know what that is. Okada can just be like, I think it might be time to turn face, but I guess excited. Phoenix lore, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's great stuff.
It.
Yeah, symbolically, it obviously makes sense for this sort of resurrection and redemption to take place. We can't really say with a straight face that Stardom expected this to be a runaway train of just mounting success and shattering record after record. So to a degree, they probably don't exactly know what to fully do with this.
Yeah, it's pro wrestling, and the women are very much in charge of their social medias to say what they want and build the feuds how they want. So it's which is why it always makes an proper analysis hard without really speaking the Japanese language and be able to read the magazines and Tokyo Sports, because they themselves do in-character interviews in those magazines and stuff. But I can't read Japanese, obviously, which is why I don't do coverage like that. But it is still fun to speculate like we're doing. So I do see her becoming full face again at some point, and I think it'll be great to see the Golden Phoenix rise again. And I think that's a whole wishful point as well from Tam Nakano as well. I think that would be like it's a great story, I think. And if they really follow through with it, yeah, I think that would be a great story.
Man, why'd you have to get my hopes up so high? Dang it. We'll see. Maybe one day you'll be right. Let's do just a little bit more speculating because I found another question from Enigma V4. Is there a possibility that Saya one day goes? Is there an echo in here for IWGP? I mean, there's a possibility. Okay, so we might get into this dangerous territory of a sort of belt collector Saya, and I don't think they need to do that whatsoever. I really don't think that's necessary. I know that we've seen a lot of double champions, especially in recent Stardom years.
Yeah,
I don't think we need to go beyond that. I think that's a good cap. And if she's going to challenge for IWGP and not win, that's going to require a little bit of finessing in terms of storytelling.
I mean, she can do it. It's Shuri.
Yeah.
You know,
that's true. Yeah, there's no shame in losing to Shuri, especially as Shuri has claimed that she's now in sort of Super Saiyan mode.
Oh yeah,
come back from near death in the past Sari fight. So we do need some strong challengers for Shuri. I want this reign of hers to be very memorable, and I want there to be some solid epic fights attached to it. And we really haven't seen the two of them fight each other. I think it probably goes back to something like 2022 in the 5-star, something like that. It's been a ridiculously long amount of time. Oh no. Okay, we've got some belt collecting questions that I'm just going to pretend I didn't see. But do you have any other thoughts about Saya going for IWGP?
Yeah, I mean, I can see her going for it. You know, I mean, it's a big title to them, and it produces a lot of epic matches. So, and a Shuri versus Saki Kamitani match would obviously be great. You know, so, but yeah, I can see her doing it.
All right, let's tackle one last question because this is actually a really tough one. Who do you think Saya faces on January 4th, which is Wrestle Kingdom at the Tokyo Dome? Holy smokes. I'm not sure. Are they going to bring back Tam Nakano? I mean, who's going to face Saya Kamitani at the Tokyo Dome?
It really depends, man. Because like when it comes to like these Tokyo, because I have a lower opinion on it. Because like when they do Wrestle Kingdom, the Wrestle Kingdom women on these shows, they've never been like long. I mean, Day 2 had a longer match with Mercedes and Mina Shirakawa, but
that's true.
They're not like really long matches, and they're not really treated as a bigger deal than they should be. Like Mayu didn't have like a really long match against Azumi, you know. So I don't have like high hopes that it would be something epic, you know. And it also depends on who she's going for. If she's just going for the IWGP, then she'll just be facing Shuri then, basically. But if she's defending the red belt at Wrestle Kingdom, then it could be honestly me if they're gonna do 10 minutes.
Enigma before says Ami Sourei maybe, and that you actually might be onto something because Ami Sourei challenged Saya for the white belt in 2023, so it'll be 3 years by the time we reach Wrestle Kingdom, but it was in January, and I do think they're gonna, if they are gonna have Ami challenge Saya, it's gonna hover around that anniversary time frame. So a January challenge makes sense. So I could absolutely see that. We also have, I'm going for Sari. She gets everybody going at Wrestle Kingdom, possibly. But we've got to get past the nightmare to even get to Wrestle Kingdom. And that still awaits us. That is taking place, as mentioned, on November 3rd. And the carnage and the fallout that results will be something for us to discuss in the future. But for now, I think we've covered quite a bit in previewing this and throwing our 2 cents into the arena. Let's go ahead and wrap things up here. Thanks everyone for your questions and for your commentary throughout. But as we start to wind down, Meerkat, if you please let people know who you are, what you're up to and where everyone can find you.
Yeah, sure. Well, hold on real quick. Anthony Manzano, Masai, look at style. She more catered to AEW or WWE. Honestly, if TK is smart, he'd like Forbidden Door a long time ago, like a freaking Sai Kamitani, like 20 story match or something like that. That would have been an epic match, and but I myself don't care for WWE, so it will always be that answer is always AEW, and it's not like a tribalistic thing. It's just personal style and things like that. It's just I just don't like that company. But for AEW it'd be fine. But even still, though, it's not a necessary move. Honestly, it really isn't. I think she is. Yeah, from me personally, when I like to watch these artists, I like to see them at their fullest potential, and that will always be where she is currently at right now. So, which is why I don't want Mayu to move to the West either. But yeah, in regards to me, sorry, thank you, Impossible. In regards to me, I'm Meerkat Ultra. YouTube here, I do Joshi content creation. And I also do AEW content creation. Speaking of AEW, though, I also do AEW recaps every like Friday, actually, if I can. It really depends if I actually get a chance to watch the show or not, because I've been really busy lately. I know we talk Stardom here, but I actually mostly do TJPW content lately. Stardom, like I said, I can't keep it towards like these mythic elements for me because I see it as a mythic company. So when I cover them, I want it to be fuller story arcs. Even if it's humorous, like with Koguma and the Bear, but I like to do fuller story arcs and stuff like that. So that's what I like to work with, basically, if I can, like longer, more in-depth videos for that rather than just something random or recaps and stuff. But that's generally what I do, and I'm yapping right now, but thank you for having me, though. It was a lot of fun talking Stardom, though, because I don't get a chance to do it all often. So yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. We will have you back as soon as possible. For everyone listening, you are on the String Six Splash YouTube channel, and I hope you'll stick around and check some of my stuff out. I do have a series called Red Belt Radio, where I cover Stardom in all of its glory. We've got guides for factions, we've got guides for the roster, and many other things, including other live streams, previews, reviews, you name it. So you can check me out here on YouTube. You can also find me on Twitter/X. You can also find me on Blue Sky. And if you feel like reaching out, you can check me out, string6splashinbox@gmail.com. But please stick around, check out some of the other videos. As for today, I want to thank you one more time, Meerkat, for chiming in. This has been a lot of fun. Crimson Nightmare awaits. I hope we will all wake up from the nightmare with a lot of food for thought and a lot to reflect on. But thank you, everyone, for watching.
Bye.